Hello, you're joining me today because you might have some tension in your shoulders that you want to release. Let me show you how it's done. First of all, we're going to take a nice big stretch up and notice the shoulder blades lift slightly in the back. Intertwine the hands and start to bring the fingertips behind the skull. Now, careful not to push your head forwards. Keep your head position nice and tall, so elongate the back of your neck. And then start to rise through your shoulder blades. So lift those shoulder blades up high. Push the shoulder blades down low towards your bottom and then come to lift and release the hands. We're going to do that a few more times. So lifting up nice and tall, hands interlock behind the head. Be careful of head position. Draw the shoulder blades up high, push the shoulder blades down low, and then lift and release. And we'll do that 2 more times. So taking the hands up above the head, interlocking, good. Lifting shoulder blades high, dropping and pushing shoulder blades down low, lift and release. And again, hands interlock behind the head, lift shoulder blades high, take shoulder blades low, and then gently release. You'll need a band or a strap for the next bit, so feel free to pause the video whilst you go and grab your equipment. We're going to do some wide arms on the band, so fairly wide here, and you're going to start to take the band up and over your head and then gently down behind you. Now, I've gone for a wide grip on the band so that I've not got too much tension going through the shoulders. We're here to release and to warm up rather than to kind of make this too difficult for your shoulders. And that's it. The band, the stretchy band, is really helpful actually because it gives you that gentle resistance, which gives your brain a little bit of feedback as to where your shoulders are going, how far they're going, how happy they are or how unhappy they are. Really nice one to do in front of a mirror as well. You may notice that one shoulder tends to be a little bit higher than the other. That's normally quite common. Often we've got, a little bit of over rotation somewhere in a shoulder. And keep going with these for a little bit longer. As I say, they don't have to be strenuous. We're not here to build loads of muscle. We're here to release some muscle tension. So last couple here, up and overhead. And one more time. Let's take that up and overhead and then come back to release. Now, you don't need to use any weights at all for this one. I'm going to use just 1/2 kilo in each hand, so I'm really staying light with these, but you could hold a block or hold on to another object if you'd like to. We're going to take those hands out to the side and we're going to have one turned up, one turned down. Now, you want this to come from your shoulder rotation, not just your wrist or your elbow. So one up, one down, one up, one down, and try and get this to work, as I say, from your shoulder. Notice your shoulder rolling forwards and rolling back. That's it. So the little bit of weight that I've got is just creating a little bit of heat, warming up through the shoulders. You absolutely don't need the weight. You're still going to get really good mobility here, and the weight of your arms extended to the side of your body will start to warm up anyway. So we're going to start to add in a bit of a look away from this one. So we're going to look away and then look away and look away and look away. So starting to add in the gaze here, we get a little bit of movement through the neck. So keep those hands at about shoulder height as you look side to side. If this gets too much, you could pop weights down. You could get rid of the neck movement if you need to today. See how it's feeling. I'm going to go for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. And bringing those back in. Popping the weights down to one side. Join me on hands and knees. So we're going to do a little bit of mobility just for the arms here. So on the hands and knees position, I'm just making sure my core is on and my lumbar's nice and strong. I'm going to take my left arm forwards and then start to circle it back towards my hip and then bring it back the way it came to rest on the mat. So again, arm floats forwards, it's circling wide and then down to my hip, and forwards and back down onto the mat. So again, hand floats forwards, circle wide to the hip, hand forwards, hand onto the mat, left hand forwards, wide all the way to the hip, left hand forwards, down to the mat. Change hands, we take the right hand forwards, you're going to take it wide all the way down to your hip and then forwards again. Back down onto the mat. Right hand forwards, take it wide all the way to the hip. Right hand forwards, down onto the mat. And 2 more. Circle that back to your hip and take it forwards and onto the mat. And last time, right hand forwards, circle it back to the hip, circle it back to land on the mat. Left hand again, we're going to start to take the hand forwards and then up and over as much as we can towards the hip and up and over again towards the mat. So left hand's forwards, up and over, getting as much range as we can find, up and over, back again. Now we're doing this without wiggling our hips and our bottom. We're trying to keep the pelvic girdle nice and steady. Let's just go for 1 more on this left hand. So float forwards, up and over, as much range as you are comfortable with today. Right hand, taking the right hand forwards, up and over towards your hip, right hand forwards, back to the mat. Again, right hand forwards, up and over to the hip, right hand forwards, back to the mat. 2 more times. So taking that up and over arc, up and over back, and 1 more time. Let's take that up and over arc, up and over back. Wonderful. So we're going to come to a kneeling position with some weights. Again, you don't need your weights at all if you don't want to today. I'm just using light ones. I'm going to come to a kneeling position, so you can kneel up high or you could come to sit back on the feet, whatever's preferable. You just want to try and keep a nice straight spine. So I'm going to take a little bit of a hinge forwards and have the weights back behind me. We're going to start to gently pulse here. So as you start to pulse, we're squeezing the mid back together. If you imagine your shoulder blades are just pinching your spine here, repeatedly squeeze, 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 squeeze. Now we want to try and avoid shoulders hunched up to ears, so really lengthen the back of the neck. Imagine you're pinching a peach underneath your chin so that you keep the front of the neck active and the back of the neck long. That's it, keep going, keep going, keep going. We're really getting a little bit of activity here into the back of the body. This strength in the back of the body is going to release some tension in the front of the body. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fab. Pop those weights down to one side and grab your band. We're going to thread the needle, so tether the band under your hands, on hands and knees. We want to create quite a lot of slack on the band because we're here to release tension, not create it. So we're going to take that nice loose grip on the band as we lift and twist and then thread through and under. That's it. So we just want to get some little warmth here into the shoulder. You'll feel the shoulder opening. You'll feel that suggestion of strength from the band. If we can, try and keep the bottom quite steady, so that we're getting the twist in the rotation of the core and also the opening of the shoulder. Lovely. Let's just go for 1 more. Lift and twist, thread through and under, and changing sides. Again, tether the band wherever you need it. Lift and twist, thread through and under. Lift and twist, thread through and under. Good, lift and twist. Feel that strength in the shoulder, that opening of the shoulder, but also that rotational capacity of the trunk of your body. Good, just finish off 2 more there. And final movement. Wonderful. Come back off the band. You can pop the band down to one side. We're going to find hands and knees for some chest circles. So if you want to come onto hands and knees with me, we're going to take our hands about mat width apart, so slightly wider, and start to take your chest, dip it to the floor and take it to the side before you gently bring the spine back up. So you're going side to side across your mat, dipping your chest forwards and hollowing your chest as you round the spine back up. That's it, moving through those circles. And a change of direction, back the way we came. Sit it back into a child's pose, take a moment. Here in your child's pose, we're going to thread the needle here. So taking one hand up onto the fingertips to give you some space, you're going to thread one arm through and under and look underneath your shoulder. See if you can rest your head and take a moment to breathe here. In your twist. Walking the hands back to the middle of the mat, we go on the other side. So you start to thread underneath your own armpit and breathe. Back up to hands and knees. We're going to go for a wider chest circle now. So hands are going to go much wider than your mat. I'd recommend coming up onto the fingertips if you've got the strength for it. And then seeing if you can just drop the shoulders down away from the ears. And again, start to take your chest along the mat and then lift it up and away. So you want to get some really good lateral movement here across the mat. Really kind of lower yourself, guide yourself across, around and up each time. So we're getting loads of movement here. Good, let's go for one more. And then try that in a change of direction. So again, really take yourself through as much movement as you can muster. We're getting a bit of stretch and a bit of strength in the shoulders and the pectorals here. Wonderful. Back to child's pose again. This time, 2 hands up onto fingertips, or you could raise them on a block or a big chunky book, and that just allows you a bit more space to stretch the shoulders open if the hands can be slightly raised. You could have your knees wider apart to allow your space for your ribs and your chest to come between the knees. Rest chin or forehead on the mat, whatever works for you there. And breathe into this open shoulder stretch. Bringing the hands back in, let's come to sit comfortably wherever you fancy. And we're going to finish with some stretches for the neck. So if you want to sit nice and tall, find that tall line from your crown down to your tailbone. That's it. Stack shoulders back above hips and relax through the arms. You might even prefer to let your hands drop and relax to the sides of the body. This tall neck is just going to tip over to one side, and we're going to encourage it a little bit with a bit of push if you need it. You may not need it. If your shoulders are rising, encourage them to melt down, melting down toward the mat and holding there for a moment. Now we're going to keep the head tilting this way, but release the hand. And this time we're going to nod our head, nod our chin, as if we're kind of nodding yes. So we're going to nod up and down, up and down. Nice and slowly. You might get a few clunks and crinkles here. So take that nice and slowly. So we're going to say yes a few times. And then again, keeping the head tilted to this side, we're going to say no a few times. So we're going to start to turn our chin sort of on the diagonal trajectory here. As I say, you might get a few awkward clunks or clunks. Keep the shoulders nice and relaxed and only take it as far as you're able. You don't have to push. Wonderful. Bringing that gently back through to the center then, no rush. Again, realign crown above tailbone, realign shoulders back above the pelvis. Relax hands and shoulders, tip and tilt the head the other way. Again, we're going to start just by applying some extra pressure if you want it, and encouraging the shoulders to melt down and away from the ears. So shoulders nice and heavy toward the mat. Keeping the head in this side tilt position, we're going to just release the hand and start to say yes a few times. So nodding that chin up and down, up and down. Leaving the head in the side tilt, we'll just remove the hand and start to nod our chin up and down again. That's it, just as if you're saying yes, working your neck through those different angles. And then turning these into no's, working on that kind of diagonal type movement. I always think these are very telling because one side of your neck often feels very different to the other. can be an indicator of where you might need to release a little bit more on one side. And then slowly, nice and gently, we're going to bring our head and shoulders back up to the center. Let's take a nice reach up, deep breath in. And an exhale to release. And again, deep breath. Look down towards your pelvis as you exhale. Look up as you inhale. And finally, let your hands release. Look down to your pelvis. Let your shoulders melt. Let your tummy relax. Let your posture relax. Gently rebuilding the neck up to a tall position. And give your shoulders a few gentle rolls backwards. I hope you've enjoyed that quick shoulder release with me, and I'll see you on the next session.